Whenever someone asks you, what is the first place you can ever think of? Some will say the place near the canal. Others will say their home. Most, however, will agree on one place: tondo. Pictures of tondo portray a place of destitution, poverty, violence, filth, and vice. Ironically called Happy Land, this moniker once held true. A long time ago, Tondo was the center of trade, culture, and progress in the Philippines. Many nations respected this kingdom even as far as China and Japan. In this video, the kingdom of Tondo and its achievements will be discussed in a short time. The kingdom of Tondo was founded on 900 AD, with its territory spanning much of central and southern Luzon. Ruled by King Lakan, it was heavily influenced by Indic and Buddhist cultures. Merchants from China, Japan, India, and Malaya came to trade for luxury goods such as incense, silk, jade, and spices. Its proximity to China further increased its appeal to merchants. With the rise of the Ming dynasty in 1368, trade between the two entities further intensified. Chinese who settled in Tondo further improved diplomatic relations. During the implementation of the hygiene laws, which shut down maritime trade in China, Tondo was permitted to trade goods from China under the pretext of tributes. This made it the prime port for Chinese goods in Southeast Asia, rivaling the sultanates of Malacca and the encroaching Western powers in the region. Although having diplomatic relations with Brunei for 500 years, a royal marriage between two sealed it. Thus, Brunei was able to set up an outpost which grew into the kingdom of Selurong. Marriage to one of the most powerful kingdoms in Southeast Asia served to strengthen Tondo well. However, as it reached its peak, the seeds of its demise are also being sowed. The Spanish Empire already had knowledge about the Islas de San Lazaro from Magellan's expedition. Although the islands were supposed to belong to Portugal under the Treaty of Tordesillas, Spain persisted in its colonial campaign in San Lazaro. Let's deviate for a moment. To better understand the fall of Tondo, we must first discuss the Treaty of Tordesillas. The Treaty of Tordesillas was a treaty signed between the Crown of Castile, Spain's predecessor, and Portuguese Empire at Tordesillas on June 7, 1494. The treaty concerns the division of trading and colonial rights for both entities. In the treaty, the land to the east will belong to Portugal, while the land to the west will belong to Castile. The lands that will be known as the Philippines were supposed to be part of Portugal. However, Spain violated the treaty by colonizing the Philippines, Guam, Mariana Islands, and Palau, which will be later known as the Spanish East Indies. This would be a source for future conflicts. The treaty will be proven to be obsolete in Asia and Africa, but not in Latin America, which would be a deciding factor for both entities in their colonial campaigns in the Americas. In essence, Tordesillas gave Castile and Portugal divine right to own half of the world, which did not sit well, of course, with the rest of the world. Now, back to the topic at hand. In February 13, 1565, Miguel Lopez de Legazpi was sent from New Spain to subjugate the natives to the Spanish crown and to establish a foothold in Asia. He deftly convinced the Rajas to blood compacts, securing their loyalty to the crown. This was also the method Magellan did to Raja Humabon to secure his loyalty to the crown. On June 1570, Legazpi dispatched Martin de Guiti with 120 men to investigate the northern region for its supposedly legendary riches. On May the 6th, de Guiti landed what is now Manila Bay. After staying there for weeks, he secured an alliance with Raja Matanda or Raja Aceh Sulaiman, one of the rulers of Selurong. The other king, Raja Sulaiman, was willing to enter an alliance with the Spanish but feared being coerced into submission to Philip II, then monarch of Spain. He thus declared war against Bambalito or Tariq Sulaiman, but they were defeated and retreated to the hills, while de Guiti returned to Legazpi. Note, the Aceh Sulaiman is different from Raja Sulaiman. On May 1571, Legazpi arrived in Manila. He met Lakandula, ruler of Tondo, on May 17, 1571. The next day, Raja Sulaiman, Raja Matanda, and Lakandula submitted to the Spanish crown and were declared vassals of the Spanish Empire. Fearing the same fate as the free rulers, Bambalito organized his troops to conduct an assault on Legazpi. He managed to convince Sulaiman to join the fight. On June 3, 1571, Bambalito and Raja Sulaiman attacked Legazpi at Bangkusay Channel, but the Spaniards won and killed Bambalito. Contrary to some accounts, it was Raja Sulaiman who died. 2 weeks later, Legazpi forged a peace pact between Lacandula and Tondo and Raja Sulaiman of Manila, effectively ending the war and ending both the Kingdom of Tondo and Selurong. The history of the Kingdom of Tondo is one of influence, trade, and war, but this is not known to most Filipinos, unfortunately. Oftentimes, the Kingdom of Tondo is mentioned only in passing in the history books, sometimes granted only a sentence. It is a shame that this district of Manila, once one of the most magnificent kingdoms of the ancient Philippines, had been reduced physically and in people's minds into a symbol of poverty and squalor.